Welcome to the Fantasy Football Profit Podcast, hosted by Craig Phillips and Jeff Torrey. Visit us at fantasyfootballprofit.com. And now your hosts, Craig and Jeff.
Welcome everyone to the Fantasy Football Profit Podcast. I'm Craig Phillips, joined as always by Jeff Torrey. And today we're going to keep talking about auction draft. It's our favorite thing in fantasy football. I love auction drafts. If you noticed, if you've been listening, auction draft is just what we enjoy talking about. So today we're going to do auction draft steals. So we've done a few mocks now, and I've been looking at just some ESPN auction data right now and just trying to find guys that we think are just going for just low prices that you can round out your team with and just be in great shape. And this right here, I think, like Jeff, this spot of these cheaper guys and trying to find this value, this is what makes auction so much better too, is being able to round out your guys with a bunch of players in a certain tier that you could not get in a snake draft. It's just, this is what you can make your bench so much better. In a snake, you're just sitting there, you get player one round, 11 play 10, 9 or 11 players, whatever. If you're in 10 or 12, they go by, maybe more, and then you get more. It's just not the same. This, you can go get your guys. You're never out of it. So I had an example. I just want a quick example here to show you here, Jeff. And what really shows this to me is like the biggest thing to show why auction's so much better and how you can build teams so much better. I think you'd agree AJ Dillon has been a value in these drafts, right? $2, I believe, in both of the last two drafts we've done. AJ Dillon has gone for $2. That's it, $2 for AJ Dillon. I pulled up the ESPN data, and he's actually average of a 2.7. So that's right on target, right? In these two drafts, I'm going to compare him to another player, Mike Williams. In our two drafts, Mike Williams has gone for $27 and he's gone for $24. AJ Dillon has gone for $2. Let me pull up some ADP data for you. ADP. Here we go. Let me pull this up. Mike Williams. If you're going 12 team leagues, right? 12 team leagues. Mike Williams is going first pick of the 5th round. Okay. AJ Dillon, 6th pick of the 5th round. They are 5 spots. There's 6 spots, whatever, 5-6 spots difference in ADP. And you are getting AJ Dillon for over $20 cheaper. $20. You're getting a $2 player that is going in the 5th round of fantasy drafts. That's insane to me. That's how you can build this team. If you get a bunch of guys, this 5, 6, 7 round range that you would think of as snake draft, and that's the worst you get, I mean, you're golden. But that's huge. Like, that's where this value is. AJ Dillon, who is the same ADP round as Mike Williams, is going for $22 to $25 cheaper in the last two drafts we've done. That to me stands out as like just a huge, like, whoa, this is massive value here for AJ Dillon. So there we go. There's my starting there. What do you think about that one?
Actually, I'm pretty shocked on that one. I did not know that whole thing, but yeah, I don't know if it is a pitfall of auction that at some point everyone has to get to zero. So, you spend your money earlier on guys, and then it goes down more drastically. I don't know. I'm sure there's a mathematical way that you can kind of make that make sense. But in Snake, to go into your whole theory on it and why we like it a little bit less. I mean, it's absolutely true that obviously, the numbers are a little bit skewed when we showed that. But on top of that, you're also handcuffed into a certain set of people because you already know who's going to go where they're valued at, and you can't really get out of that. If you jump down, you're actually only shooting yourself in the foot. With auction, if you hold off and don't spend the money on those top end guys, you don't lose that value. Yep. So it actually just benefits people who know more about fantasy football or happen to, just favor different types of strategies rather than, once again, being handcuffed into it. And the AJ Dillon one is a perfect example. Even though you have to take him earlier because he should be valued more than the $2 on here. This is, this one we'll point out a few more guys at the end of here of who you should actually go after. But, if you missed out on him, you would miss out on him completely. And then Mike Williams, though, it is funny that I mean, and that might be a more logical place to put him in the 5th round. Seems like okay, like take the risk on him.
Nothing wrong with
up
that.
And down. We know he is upscale, but right now because he falls at where is he currently? Because they have him at the 17th wide receiver. And this is Fantasy Pros and ESPN, depending on where you're, drafting, who you're looking at, the values are widely different as well, which is hilarious. So always look at the place you're actually going to draft because it'll give you a better sense of it. But he's the 17th best wide receiver, and he's supposed to go for $18. Mm-hmm. So
and he's been going higher, but yeah,
exactly. So how does that make sense that the 17th wide receiver goes in the same round as the 31st running back? It doesn't. The factors are all skewed.
Here's an interesting one too. Like this shows why I love auction and why Snake. It's not the same to me. So we're J.K. Dobbins fans, right? Love J.K. Dobbins. You couldn't get J.K. Dobbins. You could not get J.K. Dobbins and A.J. Dillon on the same team in a Snake draft because A.J. or J.K. I mean, it's possible, but it's not as easy. J.K. Dobbins is going 3 picks ahead of AJ Dillon. That's it. 3 picks ahead of him. And the value on J.K. Dobbins in auction, as Jeff will know, he's got him in both of our leagues. Both of them was like $30-some each time, right? But you can easily get Dobbins and AJ Dillon. No problem. In an auction, without a doubt, you can do that. But then that just shows me seeing those values and seeing J.K. Dobbins only 3 spots ahead of him in this is just saying, wow, AJ Dillon, the value, you're getting AJ Dillon for a couple dollars. That's a no-brainer to me in these drafts. Absolute no-brainer. You go get AJ Dillon, unless there might be somebody that really, like the Aaron Jones owner, maybe if you don't get him, because I'm not really targeting Aaron Jones in any of these things. But AJ Dillon, if you can get AJ Dillon under $5, I think that's a steal, absolute steal. And I would do that all day long. So that's like my biggest one I've seen so far was AJ Dillon. I love the value he's going for. Just love everything about it. But he's not the only one. There's more. But AJ Dillon just really stood out to me as being a 5th round guy in Snake Draft ADP going for $2. It's crazy to me. Like even Damian Harris is going after him. Damian Harris, I think, is going for a couple more dollars in these things typically than what I've seen AJ Dillon go for. But yeah, there's my main one. You got any other guys that you've like really stood out to you? But AJ Dillon's just my guy now.
Well, it's kind of funny too. And this is not. I'm going to talk about just quarterbacks in general right now. Because it is not true if you're depending on where you're looking, but we've been trying out ESPN. Obviously, a large number of our listeners use that platform, and there is an abundance of middle tier quarterbacks that all go for $4. And it's funny that the value there skews it incredibly to one side, right? So Josh Allen, Mahomes are both in the teens. Maybe Josh Allen is in the 20s, depending on a 10 or 12 person league. And somewhere, even if you're comparing it to say Fantasy Pros, which I tend to like a little bit more than ESPN, right. But at the same time, they like number 8 quarterback, Tom Brady, is $13. And this would be for a 10 team, $200 budget, half PPR. Not that it matters for QB, but so that is kind of crazy. So depending on where you're going, you'll see those kind of price tags. And also, but when you draft on ESPN, you know that not everyone is going to go ahead and throw that much money at a quarterback. No. So I think those numbers are incredibly skewed. I don't think Josh Allen is going to go for $34 like Fantasy Pros has it. But whatever shows up on that screen, that is the value that people kind of start at and go from. So it incredibly skews it. But I honestly believe that there's no real reason to pick one of the top 3 guys who those are going to be the guys that are going to be in the teams. We're talking about Herbert, Mahomes, and Josh Allen. Everyone else should be a relative value pick. So there's no reason to go out of your way and spend more money at that position. It just doesn't feel necessary when you can get anyone. And you talked about it before as well. Even if you miss on a bunch of those $4 guys, Aaron Rodgers is like the 13th, 12th, whatever quarterback right now. He's like $1. So like you can't mess it up almost. It's kind of crazy in that one. And that going through the auction drafts at the QB position, I did spend $10 on Mahomes one time because it's so cheap and I had money left over. But in that one, it is one of those that I just don't think there's any strategic value to overspend on a QB. same way as like if you don't overspend there, you can use that money to get someone, like AJ Dillon, or another guy that I really like, Kenneth Walker, who is also, I think he's $4 on this one. I've seen him go for $2-3 every time, and he's going to be at least running back number 2 in a run heavy offense. Even if their line doesn't get great, he's going to get so many carries. So there are a few running backs that you absolutely want to throw on your bench, and we just talked about 2 of them.
Walker, love Walker in this, right? This is another great example. I think a player like Walker is an absolute must in one of these drafts because he doesn't go for much money at all. But you have a harder time pairing both Penny and Walker in a snake draft. It's just harder to do.
Yeah.
They're only 8 spots apart in ADP right now. That's it. So while it's possible to pull it off, if you're in a spot there where if you're at one of the ends and you don't want to get both of them, like maybe it's too early to reach, you're not going to get them both. Again, auction, you can get both of these guys. Rashad Penny on ESPN right now, his current value, and his average salary cap draft value is, they call it salary cap draft. They're trying to get that out there. It's auction draft for ESPN. Come on. 2.5 for Penny. Walker, 1.5. So you can get Penny and Walker for $4 or $5 combined. No problem. That is, if you like one of those guys, that's the thing. If you like one of the Seahawks running back, maybe you like Penny more, maybe you like Walker more, you might as well just get both of them, and it doesn't cost you anything to do it. That right there is an awesome value. I mean, I think in these drafts, we've each gotten, AJ Dillon, Rashad Penny, Ken Walker, they've all been on our teams. And Ramondre Stevenson, he's right there too at 1.3. And I've seen him go for $2. He did get up to like 4 or 5 in the last one. But those guys are absolute steals. Like they're $1, $2 guys. You're not spending anything to get them. It is absolutely, there is just no cost to this. You're not losing anything by trying to draft these guys at all. Get as many of them as you can, to be honest. I love, if I had AJ Dillon, Rashad Penny, Ken Walker, Ramondre Stevenson at the end of my bench, especially if you're a deeper bench, if I had all 4 of those guys, you know what? One of them's going to hit. I don't know if I guarantee you one of those 4 is going to be a difference maker for you. Maybe more than one, but I think there's going to be definitely a difference maker in that group of players. And if we look at, again, AJ Dillon, we've said he's gone for $2 in both of our drafts. Rashad Penny's 2.5 average. Ramondre Stevenson, 1.3 average. Kenneth Walker, 1.5 average. It's just no risk. And that's what I love about getting those guys in auction. 100%. Actually, I'm going to go up a little bit. There's one more guy I want to bring up here, another running back. Travis Etienne. I think he is vastly undervalued in auction drafts. His average is 10.5, and that's, I think, held up pretty well in the drafts. Let me pull up what we've done in our drafts with Etienne. Because personally, Jeff, I don't think you agree. I don't know if you like. I don't think we like Dobbins. We like Etienne. I don't think there's that much of a difference between the two, to be honest. And what I would, spend to get a guy this year. But in auction, like, okay, you got Etienne for $10 in one of our auctions. Not bad at all, right? And then let's see if there's another one here. Let's see if I can pull this one up. So you got him right at what the value is saying he was, right? $10. And then the other, I can't find that one. But either way, so he went for $10 in both, he's averaged 10.5. Let's see here. Let me pull up his ADP. Where's he going? Etienne. He's probably pretty decent, right? Oh, I can't find him. I can't find him now when I bring it up, but Etienne, $10 to me is an absolute steal. Again, just why wouldn't? Oh, here we go. This is perfect. Etienne, he is going in the 4th round, middle of the 4th round. He is going ahead. He is pick 41 right now. That's why I couldn't find him. He was higher than I thought. He's pick 41 right now on ADP. J.K. Dobbins is actually pick 52. And
yeah, that's pretty crazy.
That's in the difference. In Dobbins is going for way more money.
Yeah, quite a bit more money. I mean, I've spent more on Dobbins every single time. And to be fair, I don't know if the injury is any different necessarily. And yes, Dobbins will get crack at number 1 running back. Etienne is, he has to battle with James Robinson, who I don't think is as good, but he is going to stick around. He's going to get a bunch of carries still. It's not a big deal. But yeah, it's guys like that that really make the difference. And it's funny to think that you only can get 3 guys, right? So if he's going in the 4th round, you can only get technically 3 guys that are better than ETN. In here, half your actually your entire starting roster, you probably pay more money for.
You're probably not even looking to get ETN as your starter in an auction with the value.
That's a wonderful thing too. If you can get ETN as, say, your 3rd running back, and then AJ Dillon and Kenneth Walker on your, as their 4th and 5th. I mean, that is unbelievable value. And that even gives you a lot of opportunity to spend on guys you truly believe that are higher.
That's where you can go spend the money and get these other guys up top. And then you pair it with an ETN and Dillon or Stevenson and Walker and Penny that costs you nothing. It is so easy to get depth at that position right now. And also get a guy or 2 at the top. And for me, Nick Chubb can be that number 2. We've talked about it a bunch. His value is still low. His ESPN current value is actually 24.9. That's it. 24.9. That's relatively cheap to me. He's 24.9. Akers is 27.5. Akers is going for almost, look at that. So Akers is going for $2.5 more than Nick Chubb. That can be there right there. You don't get Akers, get Chubb, and then you can add AJ Dillon in that with that money right there. No problem. So Nick Chubb's your 2. Then you go spend on one of the guys at the top, right? I don't know which one that is. You want Taylor? Do you want McCaffrey, Eckler? Get one of those guys. Go get Nick Chubb. You go get ETN. And then you go get Walker and Penny and Stevenson and Dillon. And wow, you're set. And Jeff and I can't do that because we're going against each other. So it's not going to work. But I think like that kind of pairing right there, you could go into a draft and be like, I want those guys. And you know what? I'm pretty sure you could get them.
Yeah. And I'm not as excited about these 2, but it also shows the level of just steady player you can get. If you really are, if you're in a bad place or you spent a ton on one, running back, 2 running backs, if you just need people that will produce, even if they don't have a huge ceiling, like the other 2 that are really interesting that you don't have to pay a lot for, one would be Melvin Gordon, which I know everyone loves Javonte. But yeah, look, he's going to get a bunch of carries. He's going to pretty much split. And we all know that he's very talented around the goal line if he gets a crack at that. So he could actually be a very good pick and is a little bit of a wild card. But, Edwards-Helaire has completely fallen off the radar.
Well, and that's the thing with him. I don't necessarily know if I believe. Like, I think you just said, like, I don't believe in him.
Yeah,
It's not like I'm going like, oh my God, I have to get him.
No.
I'm like, I don't know I don't know what this guy's going to do. But the thing is, it's so little risk because of being the auction that it's worth a shot. It doesn't hurt you to do it. If he doesn't work, okay, you spend a couple bucks, right? No big deal. And you can pair him with Ronald Jones. If you think that's going to be, he's not going to be the guy because Ronald Jones comes back, you get Ronald Jones for $1 in every single draft, without a doubt. You will always get Ronald Jones for $1. Get Edwards-Helaire there. Sure. Why not? Edwards-Helaire. He's no one's excited about him, about drafting him in these. He's going for $4. $4 is what he's right now.
Yes. Yeah. $4. I mean, give me a break. He probably has the inside track to be the number 1 running back. And in an offense that they throw a lot, but they did lose Tyreek Hill. Kelsey is aging. I'm sure that they don't want to be a one-trick pony. They absolutely have to be able to run the ball. And we've seen him be successful, but spotty. But that's fine. Like the whole idea is the amount of value in an auction draft you can put on your bench and wait and see. And it doesn't necessarily have to come out of your starting roster. Yep. And I'm usually the guy that says, hey, I don't want to spend a ton of money. That's not going to show up there. That's not going to show up on the people that are actually going to play. But if you spend your money wisely and, say AJ Dillon, for whatever reason, like you said, Aaron Jones, the guy that has him, he's going to throw $10 on him. You can get a couple other guys that could be a starting running back and plug them away. Right. If you just save enough money to put $3 on 5 extra players on your bench, which is crazy to say. It does not sound like a lot of money at all.
These are the guys, though. These are the reason why I don't like sitting around and waiting. I like spending, but I then like having a little bit for this kind of these players. I like having a little bit of money where I can go get these guys. So that's why I like to play it off. So we basically talked running backs. I do have some receivers too that I really think are great values. One, Rashad Bateman. I love Rashad Bateman. I've got him for $5 in both of our auctions we've done. His ESPN average is currently 2.9. I think more about the 5 seems right to me, but I love that. I love that value for a guy who should be the number one receiver, number one pass catcher. We don't know. That's Mark Andrews probably for the Ravens, but I absolutely love Rashad Bateman. First round pick. He got a late start last year. Love him for $5 or under. That's to me a no brainer at all. Like there's no risk there either. No brainer.
For me, the guy that I 100% agree with that one. I think Bateman is a wonderful pick, and they absolutely need him to produce. The one that I love the most, and I get him on every single one of my teams, unless me and Craig are battling it out and we don't want to overpay for him. But this one is literally a $1 guy or a $2 guy at the end. It's Kadarius Toney.
Exactly. I knew where you're going. He's 1.4
it's now. Just unbelievable the kind of value you might be able to put on your bench. And think about that too. Say he really is 1.5.
1.4 right now.
Okay. So even if I say he's $2, how much was Bateman's 5?
Yeah.
So, 7.
Bateman's 2.9 in ESPN actually currently. I've just got him for 5 in both of ours. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you really can, like, if you had $10 to put towards, like say 5 guys on your bench, you could put together that. I mean, that is ridiculous. You have a starting lineup, and then you have Bateman, Toney, Kenneth Walker, and AJ Dillon on your bench.
If you want three receivers for $10, ESPN value wise, Allen Robinson going for 5, and then you pair it with Toney and Bateman, and you're basically $10 in for those 3 guys. I mean, Robinson $5 seems pretty low to me too. For that, I'll take a chance on that. I love it. There's so much value down here. To be honest, another guy, I would take a wild card chance on for $1 is Kenny Golladay. $1. His average is 0.9. He means he's not being drafted in every draft, but he was hurt, and maybe he won't come back from that. Right? Maybe he's just kind of done at this point. But for $1, if you have a deep enough bench, what is the risk there? There's no risk. Get Golladay. Go get Sky Moore for $1. Get like players like that too, right? John Dotson. Go get those rookies, those dollar rookies for sure. Go get them.
And the one I'm laughing at, I really can't point you in any direction at the moment. But is if you have a strong feeling or just an inkling of which Green Bay Packer you really believe in, any one of them is going to be cheap, insanely cheap. I like Christian Watson. He, they cleaned out his knee, so he's behind, but now you're talking about, Dubs. So maybe he's doing good. Lazard is probably a safer pick. I like the other 2 for upside, but even Allen Lazard, who is going to start as the number 1 wide receiver on Green Bay, as far as anyone can tell right now, is only valued at $3.
That's crazy.
Like, I mean, it is crazy to think you can grab 2 of them for nothing. For say you get Lazard and you get one of the rookies that you believe in. You're pretty much just saying, okay, I'm going to one of them, and since they're on the end of my bench, I can throw them away at any point. It's not a big deal, but the upside is incredible.
So another couple guys, Marquise Brown is only 11.7 right on this right now. Guy got himself arrested for speeding today, like criminal speeding.
My man doesn't go slow.
But 11.7. I think he goes higher though. I really think
he has been going a little bit. I've been getting him because even at that price, I'm trying to stick with guys that are lower than that. But I do think that overall, I think that he is a steal. I don't know why people are sleeping on him still.
Well, another couple guys then. Cortland Sutton, I think for $7 is pretty solid. And one guy who I think is he's getting no love in fantasy, 100% getting no love this year. And it's because of his QB situation, or what was going to be his QB situation, is Amari Cooper. But Amari Cooper's down to $7 as a value right now. $7. That's starting to get cheap. And he'll be without his quarterback for at least 6 games. But once he comes back, I mean, our issue with Amari Cooper has always been he's the disappearing act, right? But it still could happen, but for $7, it's not that big of a risk anymore. It's not the crazy risk as you were going. We'll wait and see. Like the NFL appealed the suspension of Deshaun Watson, which you expected them to do. We'll see if that goes anywhere. Most likely not. I bet it stays at 6, most likely. But Amari Cooper starting to become, $7. I don't mind that. I haven't picked him up yet at all this year, not once, but $7, not too bad. But there's some good values. I don't know if there's probably no values at tight end. I really haven't even looked because honestly, I'm getting the guy for $1. But okay, I will say Hockenson. I have felt pretty good about where I've been getting Hockenson for. I think I got him for $3, got him for $4. He is going for 3.7. And I think that's kind of where the drop off happens at tight end. If you're looking at tight end prices, Kelsey's going for 28. Andrews is going for 26. Pitts is going for 13. Waller's going for 10. Kittle's going for almost 9. Schultz is going for 5.7. And those are the top 6. Then you get to Hockenson. Hockenson to me is like that good mix of a guy I like and still a cheap price. Because I don't like to spend on tight end, but I still want to get a good tight end. And I don't love a lot of these options later, these dollar guys. I'm just not, I don't know. There hasn't just been that guy that I'm like, you know what, I got to get this guy. Irv Smith is hurt again. Which is, of course. So Hockenson is about the only guy I have on my list of a tight end that I actually like to get. I like the value. That's it. That's all I got.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
Yep. So there we go. Auction, draft, steals, values. There's definitely some out there. I'm telling you, those running backs, like that is the way to go. AJ Dillon, if you're doing an auction draft, I don't think there's any reason AJ Dillon shouldn't be on your team. It's just without a doubt, get AJ Dillon. So Jeff, one of us needs to get AJ Dillon, except the Aaron Jones owner in our league is keeping him. So he might have a little interest in that. We'll see how that plays out, but it's a no-brainer.
And I left to we don't have I didn't want to bring up necessarily these guys, but we didn't even mention other guys that have a route to a starting spot, like kind of sleepers that we've talked about before, like Dameon Pierce or Algier. Those guys are definitely interesting too, but I think that they're valued like 0 currently.
Yeah.
But those are the guys you can throw, like literally you can get them for $1.
Well,
and
James
those
Cook.
and James Cook as well.
James Cook is 1.2. That's it. He's been going for $1, maybe $2 tops. It's a no-brainer. Okay, we didn't even say Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard is in that same vein of AJ Dillon, right? He's going for the same price as AJ Dillon.
Yeah.
Tony Pollard too.
Yeah, it really is. And depending on how much money has been spent, Kareem Hunt he's been battling injuries kind of the last couple of years, but he's another one. If the quarterback situation is kind of messed up, they're going to lean on Chubb. They're going to lean on Hunt, and Hunt is pretty good in the pass game as well. So those short passes, I think that there's a lot to love down here if they stay at these current prices. Yep. But the first couple we talked about, AJ Dillon, ETN.
You say ETN to me, that's like out of the guys that are double digit prices. ETN to me is the steal of the draft for double digit prices because he's only going for $10.
Without doubt.
That is awesome value.
Think those 3 we mentioned early on, just to recap, ETN, AJ Dillon, and Kenneth Walker, I think are incredible values. I'm trying to get those in every single one, but there is a lot of other values as well if someone else is in love with them. And as far as the wide receivers, who did we mention? Tony and Rashad Bateman for sure. And then we threw in a bunch of other fun ones that are very, very underrated. But and Marquise Brown for me, but he's depending on where you're drafting, it can fluctuate.
All right, real quick, Jeff, do you want Travis Etienne for 10 or David Montgomery for 24?
Yeah, give me Etienne. I'm not lying either. I'll tell you Etienne.
Etienne for 10, Cam Akers for 27.
Oh, Etienne, yeah. I'm not a big Cam
big
Akers
time.
guy.
That value right there is, you know what? Etienne for 10 or Leonard Fournette for 34. I'm taking Etienne.
Yeah, dude, I know a lot of people would kill us for that one. I understand why people would argue but I don't know if the value is going to be that far off this year. I really don't.
I don't know.
It really, everyone's kind of waiting to hold our breath. Like if Etienne looks slow all of a sudden, I'll eat my words. But Fournette is he's eating more than words.
That's true. So you can go get Etienne and Michael Pittman combined for $6 less than Leonard Fournette right now. So that's how I like to do that. But all right, there we go. Auction draft steals. I'm telling you, if you haven't signed up for an auction yet, you haven't got your league to do it. Try to convince them. It's a way to go. We're just under, Jeff, we're 13 days from our draft, which is really early this year.
Well, actually, we just got through one of them, a slow draft that we talked about.
Oh yeah, slow draft
for the dynasty. That was a lot of fun.
Good times.
But yeah, that is maybe we'll talk about.
Yeah, maybe we'll talk some dynasty at some point. But there we go. Talk to you guys next time.